All right, let's jump into it. Friday, what was it? Friday the 13th. Whoa. What do we got? 10:38. All right, so basically, in short, breakouts galore overnight. Look, we had gold push out through to a new all-time high, and out of that range that we've been sort of looking at for a couple of weeks. Like literally, it's been a couple of weeks in that range, and now we've got Aussie breaking out of this sort of pullback leg here. So this is very much moving forward. We've got silver kicking back to life. We've got DXY still doing what it's doing in that. So it's really just sort of sideways for the medium term, and copper breaking out as well. So it was really, yeah, breakouts galore all over. So look, actually, let's start with gold because this is the big one. This is the one that we were following yesterday, and let me just fix a bit of this up because. For some reason I decided, well, not for some reason, I know why I did it, but, well, pause and I'll come back to this. All right, so jump back into it. Didn't need to see me sort of fix up these like buyer seller things and that on all intervals. I had to sort of take it off last night, just because obviously, it's not really sort of needed sort of as you're trading, but for the whole sort of, information kind of purpose of this and sort of following the sort of path, so the patterns and the path patterns. Geez, I can't speak this morning. I was up till like sort of about I don't know 3 in the morning and that. It was a hectic night. It was big all around and that obviously. But anyway, on with the show. So this is what we were talking about yesterday, and well, the last couple of days we saw the push up here. We had NFP didn't get the data that supported it, bang, they sold it down. It was the end of the week. You didn't get the data. You could see them positioning themselves ready for this break. Didn't get it. Bang, came down. Double test down here. You see the buyers move up. And this, watch the video yesterday. This is exactly what I was saying. You can see the buyers advancing each time. We knew that this middle line was here. We could see them slowly pushing up the bid, and we knew something was about to come and break through this area here, particularly with this sort of sell down on Friday. And then the sell down a couple of days ago with CPI, US CPI, still didn't get the data they wanted, came down here, but they didn't come all the way back down here. So you add a little bit more liquidity of people sort of trying to sort of capture this same move down here again and on with the sort of range. They put their stops above here and boom, and it feeds into this. So look, a lot of these things you could see it was in this range for like a week or so, but very much yesterday we could see the buyers moving up. We could see the buyers, the sellers holding that line. Like the sellers weren't sort of, and this is the thing just to look for, because if the sellers had been moving down, then you've got a bit more of a tussle and you'd have a bit more of a triangle. But you couldn't see the sellers doing that because they weren't. They were just holding the line. They were just sort of like, get here, bang, sell it down here, bang, sell it down. And obviously, as I said yesterday, if you watch the video, there's only so many bullets that they've got. They can't sort of just keep sort of doing this thing and hold it forever. Eventually, it's just going to get overrun, and that's what we saw last night. And we're just seeing sort of things tick off now, 10:44. So got a little bit of volume about to sort of come into the market, but you can see it's sort of front running it a little bit here and sort of pushing up to the top side. What are we at? 25.61. So look, a couple of areas of interest for me. Well, this range that we were playing through here, we got a measured move price target, puts us at 25.85. On top of that. You've got this big range from back down here. And remember, actually, just another point. Remember how I said the other day, you got buyers here, sellers here, buyers here, sellers here. This move here, this was the indicator. And if you go back, I actually called this one down here as well, that this was where the buyers had sort of said, look, we're not going to wait at this line anymore. We're going to advance. And this is exactly the same thing that we saw this time with this breakout. So this big range from back down here gives us a price target of 26. So look, they're the two sort of, plausible price targets that we can go through. Both of them are measured moves. This is a big one through here. And obviously this is consolidated. And look, realistically, it's got out the top of the range and it's just sat out the top of the range here. I've spoken to and seen commentary of sort of a lot of people sort of being, almost just a little bit sort of condescending. And this is the thing with trading as well. Like, your analysis can lead you to think things are going up or down or sideways. It doesn't really matter in that. Look, if you can sort of see it and you want to trade it and it's a justified move, then go for it by all means. But it's just, the people that are sort of so blinded with, nah, it's going up. Like I saw people sort of saying, nah, people that aren't quite sure or don't know what they're talking about, but can't see that gold's actually bearish. And this was like, I don't know, I think maybe here. where it's like, a sniff off all-time highs. It's consolidating sideways and it's consolidating out the top side of a previous range. Like, I could see sort of with some sort of, with some sort of thought of analysis and that, you could say that the fact that every time it gets sold down here, sold down here, sold down here, that this could be seen as not necessarily, you wouldn't say bearish, but it's obviously certainly, not bullish and it's being sort of capped at a level. But the thing is, you still need to be aware that, you know, it is moving. If you zoom it out, I mean, look at this on a 4 hour, you know, that is not bearish. I mean, it's very easy. Grab an arrow and say which way is it pointing. That's not bearish. And this is the thing that sort of some people sometimes get a little bit sort of too stuck in their own sort of thought of, oh, no, it's bearish. And people, no, like, and as I said, the condescension, that's the thing that sort of really makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. Because you can think any direction, you can trade any direction. There's no, well, there is a right and a wrong. But, in terms of analysis and how you sort of view the market, there's no sort of right or wrong. You know what I mean? There's a thousand different ways you can cut up charts and that, but you got to have the risk management there, and you got to be able to sort of back these things. As I say, there's three parts to the trade, analysis being one, and everybody's got an analysis. Everybody thinks, oh, up, down. Okay, that's fine, but you need to actually have some reason for that. And then you need to have sort of execution. You need to put your money where your mouth is. And then when you get these moves and they run, you need to know how to manage it. You know what I mean? And it's not easy to do. And certainly, you know what I mean. My management skills, they're not bad, but a lot of the time, like, so I popped out here, I took profits here, I got back in here, I took profits here. I've still got some runners going because I'm trying to sort of develop that hold mentality a little bit more, particularly with these price targets. But if you follow anything of what I do, generally I won't sort of hold hit, buy here, hold here. And particularly sort of when you see stuff like this in this range, I've been shorting it here, shorting it here, I've been buying it here, buying it here. You know what I mean? You're making sort of like, a couple of $100 going up and down. Whereas sort of like at very best, if you'd bought the bottom here, I mean, look, you got 80, $90 from up here. But again, a lot of heartache, a lot of headache, a lot of times you may have been stopped out, run your, trail your stops, you get stopped out, like all these sort of things. So, anyway, there's a lot of parts to it all. So that's a bit of an overview of it all. Main thing at the moment is we got a breakout. If we put it onto the daily, you can see that is a big close to the top side there. RSI is just sitting right in the middle here. So there's a good chance that this could actually just push up a little bit further here. We may see a little bit of a pull down, sort of grab some liquidity, but generally, unless this comes right back down here and say closes this daily candle underneath 25.10, so like sort of engulfs this whole breakout candle. If you see that, whoops, if we see a sort of big move like this, so if we have a look at, say the candle comes like, this, say the candle comes up and does that, then you know that this is a failed breakout, and most likely after that, then you're going to see this kind of move come down here, and we're going to see mass sell-offs. This is how these things that sort of work. You get the sort of the breakout, and then bang, 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 failed breakout. That's grabbed the liquidity and then shot back down here. So this is very much a time where you need to be very on point with your management. Like particularly if you're buying the breakouts or you're buying the retests or whatever it may be. Let me get these ones off here. This is where we're going to see some sort of some action coming through soon because yesterday was a very strong day. I mean, what do we do? Sort of $60 move to the top side, closed right on the highs. DXY is looking pretty sick. So there's a good sort of stand to reason that we may see a little bit of liquidity grab here, but this could sort of very much push up a little bit more. We have seen big days like this where it's just hammered up and then sort of the next day sort of fallen down like this. So it is possible. But generally what you'll sort of see with these sort of turnarounds are more sort of like smaller candles, smaller body candles like this kind of stuff here, where it sort of has gone up, smaller body candle, pulls back, and even then it sort of still went forward a little bit further. So I think it's sort of certainly worth holding some sort of gold long positions here because I do believe 25.85 and then 2600 are the sort of price targets that are sort of very justifiable to sort of hit to the top side there. Um, I have heard calls of 2650. It must be something to do with like some sort of further sort of like rising resistances or something like that, but not that I've sort of actually put together myself. So we'll have to sort of see how today plays out. But I think certainly is a plausible idea that does a little bit of a pullback, and then sort of charges through, and we see another big day to sort of close out the week as well. Because if we have a look on the weekly, this is a big move to the top side here. So it's just onwards with the charge with gold. All right, so as I said, the here and now, if we get onto the lower time frames here, as you can see, it's very much sort of flattened out into the end of the session there. So a couple of little levels. I mean, immediately you'd want to be holding this, but you know, there's no, as I said, there's no real love lost if it doesn't hold this. We're pretty overboard on the 1 hour. Um, let's make this zone so a little bit slow this morning after last night. But these are the kind of levels through here that I could potentially be seeing some pullbacks to. If you get too much below, say 41, then I'd be probably sort of looking for some potential full retest from down here. It's hard to sort of say with these things because you know it's broken out, it's gone to the top side, it's tried to continue early. You know, it's obviously finding some sellers. That's fine. They're holding it in place. They could just sort of be testing the market, sort of see what kind of interest there is there. Remember, there was that time sort of about a year ago. It was a Monday morning, I'm pretty sure, and it was Asia session, and it just went insane. Went like $50 in like 15 minutes. I think sometimes I still think that that's how gold stop runs above all-time highs will run. So this is why when we sort of got to sort of like, you know, 30s and 40s last night, I was like, no, look, I'll take the profit because I thought very much it could just roll over and come back down here. But obviously it's just charge, and grinded along here. So, you know, I think certainly, you know, any sort of pullback, I would imagine to be sort of bought up. So, you know, you could be potentially looking like this. Oop, like this. They're the courses that I'm looking for. So say 44 and 50, they're the areas that I'd be sort of looking for sort of potential pullbacks to add to sort of positions. Get below 41, I'd be looking back around that sort of major breakout level, 25.30. If 25.30 doesn't hold, again, you know, these are all, you got to consider all possibilities. This could just be that big move out here and say it just keeps dropping. It could be coming back down to the bottom side here, of course. That's certainly a consideration. So yeah, we'll have to sort of wait and see what they do. But yeah, as I said, look, that's a big breakout. There's a reason behind these things. It's a lot of pent up volume through this period here. So that's obviously sort of being seen a little bit of blowout to the top side. Main thing was we're just looking for a continuation. So it just put in a little burst to 63, 62, 63. You take out that, and I think that's going to be your confirmation that we're going higher. So that's a little test of the market there. So continuation above 63. Awesome. All right, let's get on. Aussie. Aussie breakout, as I said earlier. You know, we have a look at this here. And, you know, the greater theme of Aussie here at the moment is this big sort of pullback. So, you know, there we go. If we have a look at this, this is where we were sort of, you know, shorting it from around sort of 68. Price target was a 38% retracement. Remember, 38% retracement is a bullish retracement level. Like, you know, if things sort of come back to 38%, it's still considered just a pullback for the next leg because you think about why it's doing this and why that it's only pulling back to a certain level. And the thing is, people have sort of got long on this part here. People were shorting this, obviously, like myself and that. You know, that was my price target. But if they're only willing to sort of take, there's a lot of profit. Remember, everybody underneath here is still in profit. So as it sort of comes back down here, and then the buyers are stepping up, it's the same thing that we saw before, where you've got, you know, in theory, these are the buyers down here that sort of picked up the low. Like, I'm not saying that everybody bought at this level, but there's the move at the moment. So they're not waiting at these lower levels, the 50%, the 61%. They're saying, look, 38%, I'm happy to buy that because in my thesis, my my sort of outlook at all, we've got a move above 70 potentially coming, and that's a measured move from there. That's a flag pattern, and what we've seen yesterday was a breakout of that flag. You see the pullback coming down through here, and it charged out here. I took some profit at 67.20 because, again, look, I'm not in these things always for the long haul. I do have some runners. I think my best one's from, I think, 34, 66.34. And that one I'm holding. I've got 66.40. That one I'm holding because I do believe that we could potentially be seeing all new yearly highs for Aussie. And if we see DXY sort of continue down, which I'll get onto DXY in a moment, Aussie is going to be a beneficiary of this as well, like a lot of the crosses. So, this is the pattern on the daily. We sort of said it was a little bit overbought, still had a little bit of work to do. As you can see, it's come down here, it's in this moment, and it's ticking back up now. You can see this with the RSI. So RSI has definitely got room to run to support another big move coming through here. If we see gold take off, Aussie's going to be appreciative of that as well. So there's a lot of things sort of lining up to sort of say that Aussie could sort of potentially have some more upside. Obviously, 68 is going to be a big area of interest because this is where the sellers got in last time and drove it back down. The people took profit from this move down here. Remember, this was a 7.5% move from the lows. And Aussie loves to do these squeezes. That's 7.5% up. It's pulled back. Now it's having its second run. And this is what I say time and time again with these charts, is that this is the leg that matters the most. Because we've got leg one, we've got pullback. Now this is the leg that's either going to give us a lower high, a double top, or a higher high, which is continuation. So this leg is always going to come. It just depends sort of, and you've got to time these things well. Does it come down to here before it happens? Does it just come all the way back down here and was actually this the leg? The fact that this high here took out this high over here, I think resets this whole idea. And so you need to start to then look at, okay, this is the pattern, 1, 2, 3, opposed to 1, 2, and then coming back. Because even if you are looking at it in the other direction, so say you're short, here's leg 1, leg 2, leg 3. And what did leg 3 do? Leg 3 gave us, here's a low, here's another low, it's a higher low. Higher lows are reversals. And so now we're into this part of the trade. 1 leg, 2 leg, 3 leg. So this leg we want to see, is this going to give us a lower high? And then we get reversal from this, and then you just end up ranging through this period here. I don't know. I'm just doing the best and trading the best that I can with it all, but this is the structure of the market, and this is what we're looking for, and this is what we're trying to capture at the moment. So we are sort of seeing this sort of, obviously, look, only minimal pullback early in the session. I mean, what are we at? 11 o'clock's about to tick over. So there's a good chance that this could just charge right up here. I would say 67.80 would be like your kind of the top side move for it, or like, there's a couple of levels. If we get down onto the lower time frames, there's certainly a couple of levels here, as you can see, sort of undoing this big drop down move here, 67.50. That's where I've got another little PT to take some more off. But, 67.80 is definitely plausible. And then, if it finishes the week strongly, if we sort of see something sort of like it's sort of coming back up through these levels over here, and we finish the week, remember, if this is an engulfing week, so we've got the lower open, if we close the week above 65, which is only 35 points off, that's going to be an engulfing. And an engulfing is a continuation of that move. So this is certainly something to sort of keep in mind with Aussie. Because, as I said, and I've been planning this out, and I said, look, this is what happens with remember this one a couple of weeks ago. I said, imagine this part here doesn't exist, and you're just looking to here. That was the move at first, came back to the 38%, and then what did it do? It charged up again and went up another another 300 points. If it goes up 300 points from this, I mean, these things don't work like this necessarily, but just to put things into context and perspective, that gives you 69, 62. So it's certainly something if we break this level, if we break 68, again, we've got sort of other previous highs to contend with, 68.50. I think that's yearly highs. That was on the start of the year, was it? Because we got smashed down after. I got absolutely killed through this period here, but that's all right. 69 and 69, 68.50, 69. These things are going to be areas of interest for people to be taking profit, of course. But these are plausible plays for Aussie. We're seeing it sort of come through. It's making its attempt now. Confirmation is going to be above 68, well, really 68.24, above there, where we could take out the wick highs from 2 weeks ago. But as it is right now, it looks like it wants to go a little bit higher. Okay, we've got 11 o'clock just ticking across now. We're seeing gold push on 63. Oh, my alert just went off, so gold just took out its own high, 64. So it's moving up higher. All right, cool. Let's keep going with this though. Let's go have a look at DXY. So DXY, last night we had ECB. We also had PPI. We could see that the moves come up here. And remember, this is the plan from the start of the week. I said any move up into here. See the little chart here, the line here. Move up into this section over here is going to be sold into. This is going to be USD rally selling opportunity. And look at what they did to it. They absolutely demolished it coming down this side over here. So, people that sort of say, oh, USD is bullish, I'm sorry, but I don't agree. And I don't think the market agrees either, because they are just absolutely just dumping it as quick as they can. You know what I mean? And look, it doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to get major breakouts down here, because this is coming pretty heavy to the bottom side here. I thought this level down here may have held a little bit more, but obviously they've just sort of just absolutely dumped it through that level there. Seen a little bit of a gap down this morning. So look, if the gap doesn't close straight away, sometimes we could see things sort of rally up and sort of try to sort of put these things in. But at the moment, if you look at that, there's still, and this is on the 4 hour at the moment, it's still got a little bit of downside to move with the RSI. So I was just getting distracted with a couple of positions. It's still got potential to move down here. Look, a couple of areas of interest, and certainly I think below 101, this is obviously quite a sort of a keen area for people to buy it up. The big danger for US dollar bulls would be a breakdown here. So I'm going to just put an alert on that. That's a major breakdown, because it's tried to hold this a number of times. I mean, this is a little way off here. It's tried to hold this a number of times. We've picked out these areas where it's been trying to hold it. We know why, because of those wicks back, December and July of last year. But if we find that the buyers have given it a shot, came down here, the buyers gave it a shot. If the buyers fail to turn up on the next test of this area, you're going to see a move down to, 99.6 is probably a conservative level. It's obviously an area of interest, but I would say things are looking pretty dire for US dollar sort of moving forward there. So we'll have to wait and see in that. I've heard some talks and that sort of a little bit contrary to sort of my sort of beliefs that US dollar is probably going to remain under pressure for the sort of medium term. But you got to consider all angles with it all. But at the moment, it's certainly they are just getting out of it as quick as they can. And I would say that, look, it left this little gap, so I could see this potentially closing at some point. It's only 15 points back up, but as it is right now, they're not looking too keen to be sort of holding it. So I'll just have a look down here. Yeah, so let's just sort of see how it goes over the next hour, because if we see gold and that pick up, I think that could see another push to the downside here. But certainly US dollar not looking too particularly strong at the moment. Flip across, we've got silver, major breakouts on silver. So this was yesterday, we had that sort of falling resistance we've been looking at. This was the price target. If you go have a look at the weekend wrap, this was where we had that big sell down. Remember, I was buying down here, went shopping, and I sort of had price targets back up over here, 28.60. We smacked it, we got it. It got smashed down again. I bought both these dips down here, so I did quite well sort of with those ones, because I stuck to the idea that we were moving up over here. Now we're coming up into a very interesting area. We've got previous highs from going back to, what's that? It's only 2 weeks ago. Wow. So 2 weeks ago and that, as you can see, we dropped down 8% from this period when those sort of futures sort of wiped themselves out. It's really taken off last night, and it's funny because, as I say, there's a guy that I follow on X called Silver Surfer, and he's a big, obviously, silver trader. No shocker there. But yeah, I was saying to him that sort of like, yeah, this is what I'm looking at. My price targets, again, they look quite conservative, but they were good at the time, 29.30. This was from 28.70, and we were coming through this falling resistance here. All we needed was the big oomph, the big push, and we came up through here. So 29.30 and 29.50, they were my sort of price targets going through here. As I said, look, same with the gold, with some Aussie in that. I've got some runners to sort of see how high we can really push this. But what we're seeing at the moment is a 161 retracement of Friday's drop down. So that's not the end all of it all, but it is something to look at because obviously these ones are a little bit stronger. But the main thing I'm looking at, if we zoom out a bit more, is this big falling resistance. And this is what I've been touting for the last couple of weeks, that this is the level you want to see. You can see that, these are weekly highs going back. I don't know where, over here or something. I don't know where this red one's come from, but the point is, you're getting a bit of a confluence of stuff around this area here. You got the 161 retracement, which we're pretty much kissing into now. You got this big falling resistance, which, this could be sort of altered a couple of cents either way. But, it is in this zone. You've got these previous highs just over here, which actually line up with the weekly highs here. So there's a lot of the market that sort of is going to try and defend this line right here. It doesn't mean it's going to hold. Nothing. I mean, nothing's a certainty. But if it breaks out of here, then you got to sort of think, wow, okay, let's go. Because realistically, above here, what you're looking for is pretty much, say, this level through here. Look, and this level potentially through here, because we had a little bit of a range, a little head and shoulders. This was your neckline. This is very good. So neckline, head and shoulders reversal here. A little break, retest, and all the way down. So you break above 30, well, we're pretty much at 30 now, but let's say you break above, so 30, 13, 30, 15, this kind of area. Nice little break there. 30, 50, 31, 40. They're your levels, which, is still some decent upside, even as it is from here. So, we've got another 1.3% there, and then another almost 4% up to those targets up there. So yeah, certainly going to be interesting if they find what they need and push it through here. So we'll see if DXY can sort of really melt down a little bit. We're seeing gold's pushing up now. What are we at? 65. So it's deciding, it's slowly moving there, slowly moving. We're not seeing the stupid rocket moves and that, but certainly yeah, it is pushing up a little bit more. So if we see all these things line up, then I think we could definitely see a little bit more upside in the metals, Aussie. And obviously, yeah, gold's already breaking all-time highs at the moment. Copper, we got the breakout on copper. This was beautiful. Again, sort of like, I bought this trade out through here, up into the zone, comes back. And this is what you want to see with these things. Ideally, you want to take out that high from yesterday, but this is the little pattern that we're looking at. You got your breakout, back test, and now you want to see this leg come through here. And this is what I say, and look, it's the same thing every day, every week. That's the whole point of this. Sellers, buyers, 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 sellers, 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 sellers. Breaks through. Now they're buyers. This is the whole point. You've got to be able to identify these levels and sort of say that, look, this is where a point of interest, and you trade the breaks. You add on the retests if you want to do the retest kind of thing. So, certainly, some interest in sort of the metals as a whole. Copper, again, you'd want to see it really above 430 because remember, this is where, as it was happening, I said, look, we're going to have some trouble here. And this is because of these buyers over here. They became sellers, came back down here to our buy zone, stuffed around a little bit, as we know copper does, and now it's breaking out to come back up here. So the big test is really what's going to happen when it gets back up to here. Are we going to see those sellers defend it again? Most likely, I would say so. But the main thing we want to see, like with gold, is how deep they sort of take it. So as it comes up to here and it sells back down, if it comes back down to here, well, we know the sellers are probably still pretty keen. If we only get them pushing down here and we see the buyers move from here to here to here to here, we see those buyers advancing, and then we get another test in close succession. So say we get something like this. This is the time that most likely we'll get a big break. And that's going to be a major breakout there for uh, copper, and we're going to be looking 4% or so up until that next zone. And really, that's a big break of that sort of kind of falling resistance, falling channel there. We'll just this would be back test. That's your price target level up around here, which we can see is coming very close in line with points of interest previously as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if, we do see a move back up towards this area over here. Maybe FOMC may be the thing that sort of drives us up here. Again, look, this could fail and this could come back down here. I'm not saying it can't, but this is a plausible sort of course of action and price action for the market. All right, finally, finish off with China. China, as you can see, is rolling over here a little bit. This is a major level here. If we jump on the daily, we can see how many times they super defended this area. This broke down, double bottomed underneath here, trying to get back up, and it's just really just retest, a little bit deeper retest, and it's pushing back down here over again. So this is what we're trying to look for into these areas. And notice how every one of these plausible outcomes very much results with a push to the downside here. I mean, you get above here, well, okay, that's a different story. But as it is right now, we're not sort of seeing that. So look, I could expect to sort of see this. It's a little bit sort of overbought at the moment. We did have a negative divergence coming down into this period here. We are seeing the buying sort of still a little bit sort of elevated over here. So, it's obviously not sort of tipped to start really melting down. But if you move this bit up here and say a daily close under here, under 708, I think that's it. That's enough for it. It's tried to hold on to it. Excuse me. And I think that's when we're going to see complete meltdown to the bottom side there. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so that's it for the charts. Quick look over the news. Where we at Friday. So look, it's pretty light on the calendar to close the week out. Bit of China sort of money supply stuff. Honestly, I personally don't know how this is going to affect markets so much of it all. I should probably look into that a bit more. And you got consumer sentiment at 12 o'clock tonight, which is looking to be ticking up a little bit, which is good for them. So we'll have to sort of see how that plays out. We're seeing slight little pushback on the metals at the moment. So gold hit 67, now 63. We got silver hit 30.07, now 95, and Aussie hit 33, now 28. So nothing to really sort of expect too much of, but it is just something to take note of. All right, that's it from me.